It is Tuesday, March 15th, and you are watching Kitco News. Our guest today was the Libertarian vice presidential candidate in 2008, Wayne Root. He joins me on the line today to talk about the devastating earthquake in Japan and the impact it may have on the U.S. economy. So thank you for joining us today.
Hello, Daniela. It's great to be with you.
So I know you're quite vocal on this topic, so let's start with your thoughts on the possible impact, if any, this may have on the U.S. economy.
Well, you know what's interesting, Daniela, is that for months I've been writing about the fact, I've got a blog at rootforamerica.com, and I've been writing about the fact that Japan may be in the worst shape of any economy in the world, with at least 2 times debt to GDP ratio, which is a tragedy. Japan has tried to do what Barack Obama, our United States president, has done in a small way, which is stimulus, and it had no effect whatsoever in America. He spent almost $1 trillion, a complete waste of money, buried my kids and my future grandkids in debt. And I tried to say again and again, the reason why we should not be doing this is look at Japan. They're the model. They've done stimulus after stimulus after stimulus, and it's gotten them nowhere. Their economy is tanked, and now they've got all this debt they can never pay back. It's a disaster. Well, now you take a country that was in that kind of frail financial shape, fragile financial shape as it was already, and you add in a probably among the 5 worst earthquakes of all time, one of the worst tsunamis of all time, and now perhaps one of the 1 or 2 or 3 worst nuclear tragedies of all time. Matter of fact, you take a country that, unfortunately was involved in the worst nuclear holocaust ever, the only one to be involved in something like that, and now they're having another nuclear holocaust. So it's a tragedy all the way around. I pray for the people of Japan. I can't tell you how horrible I feel for them. But having said that, can you imagine taking a country with a fragile economy, tremendous debt that they have no hope of ever paying back, and now asking them to spend trillions more to try and rebuild their country after a tragedy of this kind? And what's interesting, Danielle, is it reminds me of what could happen to America. We're in the same fragile shape economically.
So I'm not sensing too much optimism from you regarding the U.S. economy right now.
I'm not too optimistic about the state of the world economy. As a matter of fact, where you are, maybe the only one of the only 2 or 3 countries I feel pretty good about. Canada is hanging in there okay, but America, I'm not too optimistic. And I keep telling everyone in every interview, and you'll love this one at Kitco, buy gold, buy silver, put your faith in precious metals, buy rare coins, because I believe that that's the future of the economy. You've got no choice. The dollar will be devalued and debased, and gold and silver will become very valuable.
Okay, so if we go back to Japan now, as we know, their auto industry is at a standstill right now. What could this possibly mean to the U.S. auto industry?
You're just looking for a ray of hope for me, and I just don't have many. I don't believe that you can ever save a company that's business model is so flawed as General Motors and Chrysler. The only thing that could save them is if, number one, the American country, the American economy makes a gigantic comeback, and I don't see that happening. I think we're at the beginning stages of a Great Depression, too.
Now, you've often been compared to Ron Paul, who was also a guest on our show, and he also broke the news that he was planning to audit the U.S. gold reserves. What do you think of the comparison that's often made between both of you?
Yes, some have called me a younger version of Ron Paul on steroids. I think you could tell I've got a lot more passion, excitement, and energy than most politicians, but Ron has some great ideas. I don't agree with all of them. I'm probably a lot more moderate on issues like Israel. I'm a big fan and supporter of Israel. Ron is not. And the war on terror and what the United States faces. I think I'm much more serious about that one issue. But in general, I'd say on 80-90% of issues, Ron Paul and I do see eye to eye, and I think he was the first one who rang the alarm bell. He was the canary in the coal mine that warned us all about the debt crisis in this country and that we were debasing the dollar and destroying the future for our children and grandchildren. Ron, people thought he was crazy for 20 years now, Daniela, and he was right on the money. He was just a man ahead of his time.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing your very lively thoughts with us today.
Okay.
I feel much more energetic now, actually.
Root for America.
And thank you for watching Kitco.com. Stay tuned to Kitco News for all your latest market information.